Welcome to OmegaBone.com. I'm Omega. In this video, I'll be reviewing sheet music. Thank you for joining me. In my video discussing new music, I mentioned that when I'm working on new music, I like to go to a very quiet place. And the best way for me to do that is to go to the sheet music, if it's available, because the sheet music doesn't give me anything except for an outline of what the music can sound like. If I start and do everything that I can by myself, then when I go to the karaoke track or the other musicians, then I can bring something to the table that's interesting and new and fresh and change the dynamic of the song and give it a personal value. So let's get started. This is sheet music. And the difference between this paper and other writing paper is the way the lines are grouped. Let's take a closer look. We have 5 lines and 4 equal spaces. And then we have a big space, and then again we have 5 lines and 4 spaces and another big space. Now each of those groupings is called a staff. Okay? And that's why another name for sheet music is staff paper, because it's a paper full of staves, the plural of staff. Staff paper can also look like this. This is typically used for the first page of a piece, so that you have space for the title, the author, and any special notes that you need to perform the piece. And this is the sheet music that we're going to use today. Let's look at Jacob's Ladder. Here in the header, we have the title. And to the right of the title, a little bit below it, we have the word spiritual. And where spiritual is where you would have any authors of the piece, be it the composer, the lyricist, or the arranger. And with Jacob's Ladder, the song is so old, we don't know who is the author. So we just put the genre. Western music is read the same way other Western languages are read, from left to right. So let's start at the far left. The first thing we see is one long line connecting the first 2 staves. And then right behind that, just to the right of that, is the number 1. The 1 identifies the first measure. And typically you only number 1 measure on each line because it's cumbersome and it's too much information for each measure. Just beyond the number 1, you have the clefs. You have a treble clef on the top and a bass clef on the bottom. Then you have the key signature. Next, you have the time signature. Directly after that, on the very top, you have a D flat, and that's the chord. Under that, you have your first note, and it's an F. In between the 2 staves, we have lyrics. And as the rest of the music, you read from left to right. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. Soldiers of the cross. Now right there at the end of that last measure, instead of having a single bar line, we have a repeat sign. We're going to repeat just as the sign tells us to. And instead of reading the first verse again, we're going to read the second verse, or the third verse, or the fourth verse, depending on what's available. So let's read the second verse. Every round goes higher, higher. Every round goes higher, higher. Every round goes higher, higher. Soldiers of the cross.
Please go to OmegaBone.com for a copy of Jacob's Ladder. Make sure to check out the other lessons, measures and bar lines, notes and rests, time signatures, clefs, key signatures, and chords. Thank Thank you for joining me.